Hi everyone. As Rob mentioned, I work in the paid media team at Spike. I run paid ads across Google and Microsoft platforms, so your search ads, shopping ads, display ads. I've got a special interest in data and analytics, and how you can apply these, how you can report and make sense of everything that you're doing for marketing your business, instead of just looking at each section of your marketing kind of siloed. And I also really enjoy learning from other facets of marketing as well, how they fit together. So really what we call attribution, I guess. Today I'm going to be talking about Google Analytics, one way you can use this pretty powerful tool from Google to provide a little bit more insight and use the data that you get to create a measurement and feedback loop on the performance of SEO specific campaigns. So the goal for today is just to show you really exactly how to do it, like a run through step by step of how to segment your default organic channel within Google Analytics, to give you a better understanding of the effect on revenue. And you can overlay this with business intelligence goals, such as margin or seasonality at a kind of product category level. It can inform SEOs and also businesses when checking the effectiveness of campaigns, and it allows you to be a bit more data driven when deciding your strategy. If we look at the acquisition reports in Google Analytics, the default kind of channel groupings that you get doesn't really give you a lot of information about performance of specific campaigns, other than does your traffic go up, does your clicks go up, or does your revenue go up overall. And I think as we know, the more channels you're running, the more things can actually affect this. And with it being quite common in SEO to have projects where you're trying to influence organic performance in relation to a specific category from your website, you can use these custom channel groups to demonstrate progress related to specific SEO projects that go beyond traditional SEO reporting and metrics. So just a little bit of background data on Google Analytics. 2013, Google removed 95% of organic keyword data. It's now listed as not provided. Anyone who's worked in SEO and used Google Analytics will have seen this when they try and look at keyword level data. That basically made it impossible to tie back search term data to revenue. And Google at the same time started to provide these default channel groupings. So some, just waiting for the next slide. There we are. Yeah, some channel groupings that you'll have seen in e-commerce and in lead generation. So the e-commerce example here allows you to see each of your default channels, so paid search, organic search, direct social from your social media platforms, display for your GDN, Google Display Network, or native advertising, referral, which is any traffic that's come from another website. So maybe you've had a link provided from a news article, or somebody has, or you're working with affiliates who send traffic to your site as well. In lead generation, this works somewhat similar, but you can also segment this by your goals. So maybe you have different types of conversions, different forms on your website. Maybe you track an email form fill. Maybe you're tracking a specific inquiry. Maybe there's different types of inquiries that people can choose. So you can select all goals or specific goals as well. And you can see these broken up a little bit more than what we can see here. So what do I mean by categories? So typically along the lines of your website, but really you can use any category you want. Some examples would be men's trousers, women's trousers, jackets, shorts in retail, insurance, that could be home insurance, car insurance, contents insurance, health, business travel, law could be conveyancing, medical negligence. You can also use it to separate out different versions of your site. Maybe you have SEO campaigns running in France, in Germany, and you have different versions of your site. Maybe you've got a UK version and a US version, and you want to see what the impact of these are having. You can't really get that when you look at those channel groupings. Now, there's other places where you can look at it, sure, but this just allows you to choose exactly what you want to break it up by, rather than just using the default kind of reports that you get in Google. Now, particularly separating out blog content categories to see how your blog or the content that you generate on your site actually has an effect on user journeys as well. So are they clicking on your blog to research a product and then coming back to buy later on, or are they just searching for a specific type of product and finding you through a Google shopping ad and then coming back via your brand term organically? So really the same can be applied across any industry. And like I said, a good place to start will be using the sitemap on your website. So confused.com here, they've got categories across the top, motor insurance, or you could use their specific product categories, or for a big, large traffic site like confused.com, you could possibly look at separating out each of these. So each of your motor insurance drop-down categories, your car finance categories, whatever way you like, really. It depends how you've kind of set about your SEO strategy to begin with. But essentially, there are lots of different ways you can break your channels up, and the same logic you can use to break up and segment any channel. Email, social media, you can separate your paid social versus your organic social. Google Ads, you can separate out brand campaigns, shopping campaigns, display, video. You can separate those out into specific categories if you want to as well. Referral traffic from affiliates, you can see the performance of individual affiliates rather than them all at once as well. And you can use this further down the line to actually see the effect that these have on your revenue overall and your traffic overall as well, if that's your goal too. Sometimes how granular you will go will be determined by the traffic that you get to your site. More traffic will allow you to get more meaningful data from multiple granular categories, whereas you may need to choose top level categories for a lower traffic website. So how do we actually do it? So within Google Analytics, we'll just want to go down here to the admin tab. Once we're on there, we can either select to create a view. So if you're not exactly sure what you're doing, or you want to start to look at creating super granular ones, and maybe you're going to take a little bit of time to set them out across all of your kind of top level channels, so your paid media, organic, referrals and stuff, you probably better to create a new view, because you can use these channel groupings in your conversion paths report, which I'll talk a little bit about later on. So within that, you will want to go to channel settings and click on channel grouping. Now, you can either create a new channel grouping from here, or you can copy and paste one, or you can edit this default channel grouping, which I would recommend doing if you create a new view specifically for what you're doing. So name the grouping, we'll just call it SEO channel grouping for this one. Then we'll want to click on define a new channel. So taking the retail example that I was talking about before, we want to, sorry, just while this loads. Once we click on define a new channel, we'll see a little pop-up here. So then we want to just define our rules. Within this, we can define exactly what we want based on the logic of our site. So firstly, we want always, if it's organic, the medium to contain organic traffic. Otherwise, we'll pick up anything that comes through from certain URLs. So secondly, we'll select the landing page URL contains women's trousers, taking the retail example from before. And don't worry if you've got multiple variations on your site. I'm going to show you another one of that now, where you can create multiple rules using the logic. So going through, choosing men's trousers this time. We'll fill everything in again for our medium contains organic. And this time when we select the and rule over here, we can select men's trousers, but we can also add in another rule for or. So maybe we have men's trousers and we have men's outdoor trousers. We can group multiple parts of a page together to group them into one channel. Now, you may want to do this because you might not want to break it up as granularly, or you may be doing it because you need to combine multiple parts of your website to get enough meaningful data from the traffic. So for this one, we'll have men's trousers and men's outdoor trousers. And we can also use this to exclude parts of our traffic. Maybe we want to exclude sales, so we'll just click on the or rule here. And again, we'll just use, for this one specifically, URL contains sale or landing page URL contains clearance, just to segment those out so that they're not pulling through. You can use this for whatever. Now, obviously, the examples I've chosen here are quite simple. You'll need to do a little bit of research into how your website works. Possibly your categories are split by a number rather than kind of letters. But once you do the research and you have a bit of a play with this, you'll find it's quite straightforward to put together. So after that, we'll just want to go down and save this. Obviously, you're going to want to repeat this for all of your channels, but I'm not going to show you that now because it's just me repeating the same tasks over. So once we go out of there, we're going to want to, oh, just gone past it. We just want to go back. We can see in our acquisition reports, all traffic and channels again. So the same report that I showed you earlier, but this time we can have a bit more insight into each of our categories. So I've just named these random categories. So category 1, category 3. I think I put a category 2 in, but in the 2 days that I ran this, it didn't actually get any traffic to it. So there's just category 1, category 3, and again your homepage as well, because that's important. How much traffic do you get via organic specifically to your homepage? You can also use this to see how much traffic you get from people going to your login page. So using Google to actually just go straight to your login page. If they're going to your login page straight away, they're probably an existing customer, which again is a bit more insight than you would get otherwise. Now, if you've created these in a new view, you can actually use the conversion paths report. So down here under conversions, you'll be able to see the top conversion paths as well. So that will be another interesting area to look at, but we're not going to cover that today. You'll want to check this after a couple of days just to make sure that the data is pulling through. I know I've set this up before and maybe not noticed a page pulling through. You can troubleshoot that by just kind of selecting organic search here, and within this you can look at the URLs that are there to just troubleshoot that a little bit, and then go back to your channel settings and use it. Now, This really allows you to see the, I guess, the revenue growth from specific SEO campaigns, and you can still choose this channel grouping that you want. So we've selected the SEO channel grouping here. You can choose the default if you want as well. So this can really become powerful when you start to look at different marketing sources, and you can really see the interactions that your customers are having with your business. And you're essentially creating a revenue metric for specific SEO campaigns, which is something that is often seen as quite hard to do in SEO. So just to summarize what we've got today, so tracking category level revenue or transaction or lead growth or goal growth if we are generating traffic to just what's a blog site. We can use this knowledge to inform new SEO campaign strategy. Keywords with a lower organic click potential, like Duncan was talking about earlier, can become less important. Also, areas that you're spending a lot of time on as a business that aren't getting you the returns that you want, you may decide that actually your time is better spent in areas that have a lot more potential. So that's it from me. Feel free to get in touch with myself or anyone at the Spike team. If you try this and you've got any questions on it, let me know. You can always send me a message on LinkedIn or direct via email. And I think we've got a couple of minutes to answer some questions, Rob, right?
Cool, yeah, thanks for that, Patrick. Yeah, one question from me really. You will have seen a lot of analytics profiles. How well do you think most businesses use Google Analytics?
I think the majority of businesses really just use Google Analytics as it is out of the box. So they just use the default reporting from everything. They probably don't look at a lot of the more specific reports that are in there. And a lot of people get frustrated or jaded with Google Analytics because they can't see the data in the way that they want to. And actually, it's really, really customizable. How much you can do. You can create segments from your traffic. You can create custom attribution models using something like this, where you can see the effectiveness of your blog content later down the line to the purchase journey. So maybe somebody reads your blog article, then they've clicked on a shopping ad because they've searched for the article like a week later. They then see the item. They don't buy it that day. They then click back from a remarketing ad, and then they just leave the website open and they come back direct to the site. You can actually understand a lot of information about a user's journey and the effect of your marketing campaigns. Yeah, so really, really powerful to get a deep dive into customer journeys. And I think a lot of the reason why is it can be quite specialist knowledge to get this. So some bigger businesses will be doing it more often, but a lot of smaller businesses will just use it out of the box. Yeah.
Cool, perfect. Right. Well, I think we'll move on to Steve's presentation. So,
Great.
Thanks, Patrick.